Hello, good morning all. Today in this video we are going to discuss regarding how to create a module in Odoo version 14. So in the last week we already have released a video showing how to create a basic module with only init file and the manifest file. So currently in the screen you are seeing Odoo version 14 community edition, which I have installed in my local system and configured with PyCharm. And in the apps menu you can see the module hospital management that we have created last week. So in this video what we are going to do is that we will be seeing how to create tables inside the database. As we are going to create hospital management software, definitely there will be need of database tables to store the data. Like if we are managing the hospital and if we are creating a software to manage hospital operations, definitely there will be database tables like patients, doctors, appointments, surgery, etc. So how we will be seeing how to create database tables inside Odoo. So we all know that Odoo is using postgres as the database. So let's see how we can easily create a model. That a model refers to database table in Odoo. So first of all I'll be going into the PyCharm. So I'll be going into the PyCharm, and here you can see inside my custom add-ons path I have the module called OM Hospital having init file and the manifest file. So what I will do is that init file manifest file will be giving a short idea about what the module is doing, and right now the manifest file is empty. Right now the init file is empty. So let's see. So before starting, first of all I will add a no before going into our module I'll be going into the Odoo folder. So here we can see this is the Odoo source code. So if I go to the Odoo and then to the add-ons, I can see the all Odoo add-ons. And if I check the account module, you can see there is the different folders inside the main folder. That is, we have controllers, data, demo, doc, etc. So regarding the all I'll be discussing in the coming videos. Right now we will be concentrating about the models file. That is, all the Python related files will be placed inside the models folder, and all the views, that is all the XML files, will be placed inside the views folder. So I'll be creating a new folder called models inside our module. So I'll be going into the custom itself and then to the OM Hospital. So inside the OM Hospital I'll be creating a new directory called models to place all the Python related files. So I'll be clicking on OK. So I have created a models folder. Then inside the models folder I need an init file. So I'll be copying the outer init file and I'll be pasting it inside the new models folder that we have created. So right now I have created an init file inside the models folder. Then currently the outer init file is empty, so I have to import the models. So from outside I have to import the models folder. So I'll be typing from dot import models. So in the outer init file I have imported the folder that I have created, that is from dot import models, and inside the models I have another init file which is empty now. So I'll be creating a new file called patient.py to create a patient database table. So using this file itself I'll be copying and I'll be pasting it here inside, and I'll be naming it as patient.py. So once you create a file you have to give the name accordingly. So once I see that file itself I need to get some ideas what this file is related with. So right now I'm going to create the models of the patient. So I have given the name as patient.py, or you can give hospital patient.py as per your convenience. So that's done. Now from this init file I have to import this patient.py file. So from the outer init file I have imported like this from .odoo models. So from the inner init file now I'll be importing this patient.py file. So I'll be giving us from import from it's from import patient. So you have to give like this. You can see the PyCharm is automatically suggesting you what to import. So I'll be clicking on enter. So we have imported the corresponding file. So this is the use case, or this is the usage of the init file to initialize the Python files. So we will be specifying which all Python files has to be loaded. So that's done. So we have use the outer init file to import the models folder, and from the init file inside the models folder we have imported the patient.py file. So now from the patient.py file we will be creating a new database table. So I'll be going into the Odoo source code again to take a reference. So I'll be going into the add-ons. So I'll be going into the add-ons, then to the account, and if I go to the models folder, and I will open account.account.py file. So here I have a sample class. So I will do one thing, I'll be simply copying this file. So this is how we can reuse the existing code to learn new things. So simply I'll be copying this file from here, and I'll be putting it inside the patient.py file that we have created right now. So that's done, and this is not needed right now. Simply we need to import only from Odoo import API fields, models, etc. Right now we need only these things. So simply you can do one thing. So if I go to the patient.py file, you can see you can remove this encoding. So this is not necessary from Odoo version 12, I think. So you can remove that one, or you can keep it as such, no issues. So what I'm talking about is the encoding. So either you can keep it as this, or you can simply remove it, that doesn't matter. So from Odoo import API fields and models. So I am importing some properties, like from Odoo I am importing API fields and models so that I can reuse inside this file. Then we have to define the class. So you have to give a class name. So as I'm going to create a patient, I'll be giving the name as hospital patient. So hospital patient. So once you give the name for the class, you have to follow the naming convention, like it should be the camel case. So here you can see in the hospital H is capital, and inside the patient P is capital. So you can give the name like this using camel case notation. Class hospital.patient, and here inside you can see models.model. Actually we have three types of models, that is normal model, abstract model, and transient model. So these models will be creating a database table, and if you use the transient model, it will not store inside the database. So it will be temporary, it will not store data inside the database. We will be using the transient models in the case of while we are launching some wizards. So we will come to wizards and transient models in the later section of these Odoo 14 development tutorials. So right now you can use models.models, and I've missed about the abstract class, that is the third one. Abstract model is used for the reporting purpose. So right now we will be concentrating only about models.model, which will create a database table. And then in the name you have to give a name. So based on this name, the table will get created inside the postgres. So right now I'll be giving the name as hospital.patient. So once you give the name as hospital.patient, inside the postgres a new database table will be created with the given name. It will be hospital underscore patient. Instead of dot, it will be hospital underscore patient inside the postgres. So you can give a name like this for the new table, that is I'm going to create a new database table for recording the patient details. So I have to give the name like name underscore name equal to hospital.patient. Then you have to give a description for the corresponding model. So I'll be giving a description as hospital patient. So you can give any description, or you can give the table to manage patient details or something like that, you can give accordingly. So right now I'll be giving hospital patient. So the description about the model is given. Now we have to add what all fields has to be inside this table. So by default, when you create any table, Odoo will automatically create some fields like create date or write date, ID. Then what we have, some around 5-6 fields will be automatically created by Odoo itself to store the creation date, something like that. So I'll be showing that. So if I go to the UI, I'll be going into my browser, and I'll be going into the settings, and from the settings I'll be activating the debug mode. So once the debug mode is activated, you can access the technical features from the settings technical, and if you scroll down you can see under the database structure we have a menu called models. So under the models, so the model is what we call the database tables. So inside the models you can see all the database tables used inside this database. So if I open a database table. Let me open crm.team. Here we can see some fields like last update, create date, create uid, id, etc. will be automatically created by Odoo itself. You can see write date and write uid. So 5 fields will be Odoo will be automatically created to any database table. That is how Odoo's architecture is working. So we can see that once we upgrade our module and see. So right now I'll be adding new fields to our model. So to manage the hospital and inside the patient model, we need the fields like a name, age, gender and text field. So we are not going to add a lot of fields. I'll be adding simply a name field, then a age field, then a gender field and a text field. So we will be seeing about the relational fields in the coming videos, like we have one to many field, many to many field, many to one field, etc. So right now we will be going only the simple fields type. So I can reuse the fields here. Right now you can see we have a name field, so I'll be changing the string. So instead of changing the string, right now you can see the existing string is account type, so I'll be changing the string to name. So this is the field of type char. So this is how you can define a field inside the Odoo. Name equal to fields.char. The char represent the type of the field. So if it is an integer fields, you can give fields.integer, and if it is a text field, you can give fields.text, and if it is a boolean field, you can give fields.boolean, and if it is a selection field, you can give fields.selection. So right now for entering the name, I need only a character field, so I'll be giving fields.char string equal to name. So this is the label of the field, and required equal to true and translate equal to true is set. So I'll be removing translate equal to true. So we have successfully added a field called name. Then now we need another field to record the patient's age. So to enter the patient's age, we need a integer field. So I'll be duplicating this line. So I'll be removing this one, close, and I'll be clicking on Control D, and I'll be changing the name to age. So I need to add another field to record the age, and I'll be changing the string to age and required equal to true. So I will be removing the required, because I think most of the people, there will be some patients who is not interested to share their age. Still we have to create that patient record, so I have removed the required attribute. So once you didn't specify the required attribute, by default it will be false. So right now we have added two fields, that is name and age. Now we need a field called gender to record whether it is male, female or other. So I'll be adjusting this type, and I will be renaming the type to gender. So once you give the field name, it should also stands with what the label you are going to give, or for what purpose you are using that field. So right now I am using the gender field to record the gender. So I'll be giving the key as male. So I'll be showing how you can define a selection field male, and in here I will be giving as female, and the third one I'll be giving as other. So here this is the key for the selection field. So we will be defining selection field like a dictionary, like a key value. So this is the key and the value. So value will be shown in the UI. So I'll be using capital letter male, and here I'll be giving female, and the third one other equal to other. So here you can see it is like a tuple. So this is the key male, and the corresponding value is male, capital letter male, and here you can see female and capital letter female, other and other, and I have set it as a required equal to true. And if you need to set a default value, you can pass it here, whether which one has to be shown as default. So I'll be showing by default as male. So that's done, and I'll be removing the next one, internal group, which is the selection field. I'll be removing that one. Then finally I'll be keeping this note field, which is a text field, to enter some description, like if the patient has a old medical history, and if I need to enter some text, I can use this field. So what we have done is we have simply created a new model which will create a database table inside the Postgres. So what we have done so far is, from the outer init file we have imported So from the outer init file we have imported the models, and from the models there is another init file. From that we have imported the patient file, and inside the patient file I have defined a new class with the name hospital.patient and added 4 fields. So let's see what happens if I restart the service and upgrade the module. So once you made changes inside the Python, don't forget to upgrade the module. So before upgrading the module, I'll be going into the browser, and if I search hospital inside these models, right now if I search for hospital, you can see there is no models or no database table with starting with the name hospital. Now I'll be going into the apps menu, and from the apps menu I'll just upgrade the hospital management module. Let's see what happens. So till now we haven't added any menus or views, so we don't have anything to view here. So I'll be going into the settings and then to the technical, and if I scroll down and if I go to the models, and if I search for hospital now, if I search for hospital, you can see this is the new model that we have created right now. You can see the model name is hospital.patient and the model description is hospital patient, which we have given here. And if I open this, you can see we have around 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 fields. So we have got 11 fields inside our model, but we have added only 4 here. So I have before I have told that Odoo will automatically adds the fields like last update, create date, create UID, display name, ID, write date, and write UID. So Odoo will be automatically adding these fields to all the models. And here we can see the age field, which is of type character. So one mistake here, we forget to change the fields type to integer. So we can use integer fields to store the age. So I'll be changing the type to integer to store the age. So I'll be restarting the service again, and I'll be going into the UI, and from here I'll be upgrading the module so that the fields type will be get changed into integer. So I'll be going into the settings again, then to technical, and if I go to the models under the database structure models, and if I search for hospital, I can search patient, and if I open, you will be seeing the age has been changed to integer. It was before character, so right now we have changed it to integer. So age field has been added successfully. And if I go down, you can see gender field, which is of type selection, and we have a name field which is of type character, and you can see required is comes as true because we have set a required attribute true here. That's why the required attribute has been ticked here. And we have a note field which label, description, and type text. So here you can see field label, that is what we have given as string here. So that comes. So this is how you can easily create a database table inside Odoo. So if you have any queries regarding this, please don't hesitate to comment it out or reach us over the email. So our email ID is odoomates@gmail.com, and you can connect us over the social medias like Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So that's all about this video. Hope you understand this. Have a nice day. Thank you.